Life is an endless river of decisions. From the moment we wake, we are flooded with choices. What to wear, where to go, what to say, who to please. Yet the one decision that truly shapes everything is the one we rarely make, the choice to be ourselves. Not the version our parents hoped for, nor the ideal society projects, nor the image we perform for approval, but the quiet, unedited self behind all of it. When you finally make that choice, not from pride, but from clarity, life begins to move differently, not because you start doing something special, but because you stop doing what is false, you stop pretending, you stop performing for the invisible audience that watches and judges every step. Ask yourself honestly, whose life am I living? Mine. Or theirs? Most of us never pause long enough to ask, too occupied trying to appear right, to fit in, to be seen as enough. But what happens when you stop trying to be what you are not? When you no longer bend yourself to fit expectations that were never yours? We are taught that choosing ourselves is selfish, that it means abandoning others, ignoring duties, escaping to some distant paradise. But it isn't about running away, it's about returning home. Choosing yourself is the act of accepting that you belong to life, that you are not a stranger here but an expression of it. And when you accept that truth, you relax. Real relaxation is not idleness. It's movement without resistance. It's acting, speaking, creating, without the inner whisper asking, "Am I doing it right?" When you stop listening to that voice, not by silencing it, but by seeing it for what it is, an echo of others, you begin to live effortlessly. That inner commentary was never yours. It was borrowed. The voices of parents, teachers, cultures trying to shape you into something that fits their plan. They meant well, but their blueprint was never made for you. Trying to live by it is like forcing yourself into clothes that never fit. Tight, stiff, exhausting. Choosing yourself is like shedding that costume and breathing freely again. And once you do, people notice. Some will be inspired, others will be threatened. Your authenticity reminds them of their disguise. Your freedom exposes their prison. So they'll call you selfish, foolish, changed, and if you are not grounded, you might believe them. But you cannot return to pretending once you've tasted truth. It's like waking from a dream. You can recall it, but you know it isn't real. Choosing yourself is not a single decision. It's a daily devotion. Every morning you must ask again, will I live from truth today or from fear? Some days are clear, others are clouded with old habits, the hunger for approval, the fear of rejection. On those days, be gentle. Choosing yourself is not about perfection. It's about honesty. And strangely, when you choose yourself, you don't become isolated. You become connected. Authentic connection can only happen between authentic beings. When masks drop, souls meet. It's no longer two performances colliding, but two realities recognizing each other. This is the awakening the mystics speak of. The discovery that the self you are choosing isn't small, separate, or alone. It is the universe expressing itself through this particular form. Imagine a wave believing it's separate from the ocean, competing, fearing the shore, desperate to last longer. Then one day it realizes, I am the ocean. The wave doesn't vanish. It dances. It crashes, reforms, flows again. Free because it knows it was never apart. When you see this, life becomes play. You stop living to win and start living to live. But few reach this point because fear guards the door. What if I lose my job? What if they leave me? What if I fail? What if I'm alone? These fears are real. But so is the slow death that comes from never choosing yourself. Every yes you say when you mean no, every fake smile, every time you hide your truth, a part of you withers. Life becomes mechanical, gray, predictable. You move through days like a ghost fulfilling duties, but you weren't born to be a machine. You came to feel, to love, to create, to risk. You can't do that behind a mask. So when you finally choose yourself, something inside awakens. like sunlight flooding a dark room. The illusions start to dissolve. The things you thought were important shrink. The things you ignored become luminous. Maybe you realize your work no longer fits. Maybe your relationship was built on pretense. Maybe the life you built isn't truly yours. And that revelation is terrifying, because now you must act. Not the safe way, but the real way. This is where most people turn back. They say, "It's too much. I can't do this." Pretending feels easier, but once you've seen truth, you can't unsee it. The door stays cracked open, light spilling through. You either step into it or live forever haunted by what could have been. To choose yourself completely means walking through that door, even trembling. The fear won't disappear. The uncertainty will remain, but you will change. You'll feel present, real, whole. No more inner conflict between what you know and what you perform. From that wholeness, everything begins to flow. Your work becomes meaningful. Not because it's grand, but because it aligns with your nature. Your relationships become deeper because you no longer need validation. You're simply there, honest, alive, unafraid of being alone. Choosing yourself doesn't make life easier, it makes it true. You must face the shadows, the anger unspoken, the grief ignored, the desires denied. They all rise to be seen. It's messy, painful, disorienting. There will be moments when you doubt everything, when you miss the safety of pretending. But truth calls louder, and as you keep choosing yourself, day after day, the resistance softens, the fear loosens. You begin to discover a peace that doesn't depend on outcomes, not the fragile calm of control, but the steady peace of acceptance. This peace lives beneath every storm. It's there when things fall apart, when people leave, when failure comes, because it isn't built on circumstance. It's the quiet center within you, the witness untouched by what happens when you touch. This center, you realize it was always there, waiting for you to stop pretending. From it flows a new kind of strength, one that doesn't shout or prove, but simply is. External achievements, recognition, applause, they lose their weight. They are pleasant, but no longer necessary, because you finally understand you already are what you've been seeking. This changes how you love, how you work, how you live. You stop chasing connection and start embodying it. The right people appear naturally, those who recognize your authenticity because they found their own. Relationships become sacred mirrors where truth meets truth. Your body, too, begins to heal. The tension you've carried for years, shoulders tight from pretending, stomach knotted from fear, starts to dissolve. The body finally exhales, no longer forced to live someone else's story. So what happens when you choose yourself? You awaken. You remember what it means to be alive. The fear remains, yes, but it no longer rules you. The uncertainty stays, but it no longer defines you, because you have found the still point within, the calm in the center of every storm. Life doesn't suddenly become easy, but it becomes yours, and that makes all the difference. So the question stands, quietly, insistently. Will you keep wearing the mask, or will you finally come home to the only self that was ever real? Life is shorter than you imagine. Every moment spent pretending is a moment lost forever. So don't wait for the right time. Don't wait to be brave. Choose yourself, now, and see what happens.